Howdy ho, everybody. I am Donut. I am here with my fiance.
Thermite.
I have seen South Park up season 20-something.
I am watching it blinds.
This is, of course, a Black Lives Matter, All Cops Are Bastards, and Trans Rights supporting channel. If you don't support that shit, you can get the fuck out of here. This is season 5, episode 13. Kenny dies.
Oh, so I'm legit really excited for this one. I think
What's your prediction?
I think this might be the lore episode.
Okay.
Where,
So, what do you mean by that?
Up until this point, Kenny dying has been a joke, and it's also been kind of weirdly inconsistent. Like that one time in, during the Cartman's mom is a dirty slut 2-parter, where he kind of just pops back to existence.
Yeah, where he just sort of fades back into the episode.
Yeah. I think this episode is going to have a actual lore reason why he keeps on coming back.
Okay.
Or at the very least, it'll be a more meta look at it.
Sure. Yeah. All right, if you want to see the full length of this one, check it out on the Patreon below for $4 a month. What would you rate the episode?
I guess it's a 10 out of 10.
It's absolutely a 10 out of 10.
I was searching a bit, but no, that's a 10 out of 10.
There was
so solid.
Yeah, there was some moments that I felt were kind of not dragged, but I think they dragged because there was no music.
Sure.
But aside from that, I think it was absolute 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
What was your favorite joke of the episode?
Oh my gosh. I mean, that ending was really fantastic.
The endings, we have established that we can never say the ending is our favorite joke.
Yeah,
the ending is
always so good.
Yeah. I mean, we always talk about the ending anyway,
Yeah.
so our favorite joke should be something we're not going to usually talk about. My favorite joke is absolutely the Heat of the Moment song. It was especially above everything else, that's the thing I remembered so clearly about this episode.
Okay.
Just them breaking out this song. It gets me every time. Especially with the way they do it, where they start with one person singing it, and then everybody just slowly starts singing it. They did it with the O Canada as well.
Yeah.
It's funny every time to me.
I think it's gotta be for me when Cartman and the Doctor are when Cartman's leaving the doctor's or the lab.
Yeah.
And they do the give him hell kid speech 3 times.
Oh yeah, that's great. Oh, this is such a heavy-handed, so obvious parody of this kind of Hallmark movie, or just this kind of Lifetime movie sort of situation. While at the same time, they all not quite, but there was a semblance of wanting to eat the cake and have it too.
Sure.
But I think they made it work really well.
Mm-hmm.
They did this as a parody, while at the same time making this a very good sad moment and a good Kenny episode.
Yeah. If they weren't doing a parody, I don't think they could do this kind of thing with Kenny, because his death is such a big gag. They have to look it right in the eye and make it very clear, yes, the gag is that everyone's treating this super real now.
Yeah. It's a thin line they have to walk, but I think they walked it perfectly in this episode. Because there were so many things that legitimately were sad. Even when they're being gathered into the guidance counselor, my heart is racing again, because it is a very real moment.
Right.
As goofy as it is, and they do play it so straight that it does hurt as much as you seeing it in a Halltime movie or a Lifetime movie.
Right.
Because even if it's a parody of a character that dies all the time, it still is sad. It's always going to be sad.
Yeah.
The Stan thing of not being able to say goodbye, that's always going to hit. Doesn't matter if it's even in something like this, where Cartman is trying to sell fetuses as shrimp. Even in an episode like this, they can still get you with that.
Which, because of that, because they were playing up the kids are actually bothered by it, I did not see that Cartman was definitely, doing the bait and switch.
Yeah.
I did think it once or twice, but by the end of the episode, I was definitely oh, he's going to, clone Kenny or something.
No, this was such a fantastic twist reveal with Cartman at the end.
Yeah. Oh, and the way the Shakey's is being grown is so gross. I hate it.
It feels so much like the Trapper Keeper episode. I really love how much they are able to make you think that Cartman is doing the right thing. Like, even with the crying on Kyle's shoulder and all that. Like, it was so convincing that it's like, okay, he's actually being affected by this. And it makes sense, because it is like, over the course, I'm pretty sure in the Clubhouses episode, like, Cartman said that Kenny was his best friend. Like, well, fine, you guys build your own clubhouse. Me and Kenny are going to build this clubhouse. I don't remember what he said, but he did say, I believe he said he's his best friend. I could be wrong. But, and they also just hang out together all the time.
Yeah.
Especially even time we see the four of them, it's always those two, you know, those are the two groups of the four.
Yeah, Stan, Kyle, and then Kenny and Cartman.
Yeah. Don't know if Kenny would say that Cartman is his best friend, but Cartman would definitely say that. Kenny just puts up with it a lot.
Yeah.
And Kenny is also a lot more mature, that he doesn't get, like, he'll get mad at Cartman saying stuff, but it's not like Kyle where he, like, lashes out at him.
Right.
Cartman definitely goes for Kyle because Kyle gives him the response that he wants.
Yeah.
Whereas Kenny doesn't really. I love the ending. One for the Shakies. Like, it's such a double, like, really good joke with the Shakies thing, and also just a really good joke to just once again have the episode end with Cartman getting the shit beaten out of him.
Oh yeah.
Like, we've ended so many episodes the past 2 seasons that way.
He always deserves it.
It's always earned. So we didn't get any more lore of Kenny this episode.
We didn't.
No more lore.
I'm still expecting it though. And like, I did not all think this is what this episode was going to be, but it makes sense that they would do at least one, we're going to do the serious Kenny death episode.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the whole chef speech about how God is absolutely awful, he wants to drink our tears, it was so perfect. I've seen that scene so many times in Hallmark movies and, very special episodes.
Really?
Yeah. Like, specifically the, adult figure sits you down and says, okay, don't worry, God has a plan, your friend is dying for a good reason.
Oh, I thought you were saying that specific thing,
no.
like in a Hallmark movie where, like, don't worry, God's just an asshole and hates all of us.
No.
That would be very weird.
No, that's the parodic aspect of it.
Yeah.
But,
I've also seen the, if God exists, then he is an asshole, like, stance, and even, like, a rant of it many times, but I have never seen it said so eloquently as Chef did.
Yeah.
Or, like, so clearly, so, like, irrefutably.
Like, the way Chef says it is not, like, passionate or full of hate or anything. Like, it's not a backlash. Yeah. It is a very, like, I've come to this over a long time. Like, it's so calm and straightforward.
He's saying it in the way that he would, talk about, like, a fundamental rule of the universe.
Yeah.
He's explaining it as if they were explaining stem cells, or stem cell research. Like, just, this is the way it is. Which, I think this episode was a really good, showcasing of stem cells and everything. And they got to do the thing they love to do, which is we make fun of something or, take a half stance on something, but then we don't actually ever take a stance on it. Their favorite thing to do. We don't have opinions. I think they got to eat their cake and have it too in that regard. But I think they did a good job of educating people on stem cells.
Yeah.
This episode definitely, I think, got me to start, like, looking into that sort of stuff. Like, this was, I think, one of the first times where I was, like, watching South Park, even as a kid, was watching it, and, like, after it, would, like, ask my mom about it, and, like, looked it up, like, online and stuff, of, like, what is it? Like, is this stuff, like, why is this not being allowed and everything?
Right.
And, like, that was, I think, my first, like, foray into that sort of, like, side of the political spectrum of, why is this not happening? This seems very logical as to why it should be happening. Oh, just because of people.
Yeah.
People being people.
The thing that really hit me as a kid when this subject came up was, I was watching a discussion on TV, and someone made the point of, like, if we do enough research using fetal tissue, eventually we'll probably hit the point where we know about stem cells enough to, normal adults also have stem cells.
Yeah. And
the main thing was, like, we just need to, like, research them enough, and then we could, like, clone them or get them out of adults more clearly. Yeah. But
you need the research first.
Yeah. So it is this thing of, like, if we don't do the research now, it'll never get better.
Yeah.
So our options are really just never progress in this one field that seems extremely optimistic, or do it.
Yeah. The only argument that I think legitimately it goes against it in a logical way is that, like, sure, it's going to, in America specifically, it's going to create the same problem of, like only the rich being able to afford it, and like it being privatized, or it being like it just being a lot harder to like. It's again, it's not a not doing it is equally as unbeneficial as doing it, but like sure, I can see the argument of also like this could start to like the like slippery slope towards designer babies, like the rich being able to like do that or whatever. But again, it's I can understand those arguments of being worried what the rich are gonna do with this, but it's something that you have to be like, yes, but it's obviously more beneficial.
Yeah, like everything starts off locked exclusively to the rich. That's just not even capitalism. That's
just everything.
That's any system that requires a lot of money to do something.
Yeah.
Like it's going to either be like a very big like research branch that's doing it for free, or more likely it's going to be a private interest.
Yeah, that's why I said mostly America, where we have healthcare and everything, so it's never going to trickle down.
Right.
But yeah, I think I don't know what I was about to say.
Yeah, like especially the push to have like actual public research go into it. That's always fascinated me. Like back in the like early 2000s, there was famously, I can't remember his name, but there was a guy who wanted to map the human genome first as a private interest, because then he would have an exclusive right to use the human genome.
Oh boy!
And naturally, the Human Genome Project managed to outstrip him. But it was a close race. Like it was there's a very real possibility of one rich man having exclusive lock and key to all of human DNA.
When you started that sentence, I thought you were about to say, but the human genome itself stopped him. That'd be so crazy sci-fi shit.
But yeah, so unsurprisingly, I'm very much in favor of, public research. I think information should be free, and like I'm kind of okay with like limited term, like if you figure out this drug, you get exclusive rights for like 5 years or something, but not the current system of like 50 years.
I mean, even that is messed up. It should be available to everybody right away. I mean, not right away, but 5 years is even still too much.
I mean, the problem with that then is where's the incentive to put in the work and effort if some other dude is going to do it immediately without having to do the work and effort?
Benefit for humanity?
But what if you die poor and broke because you used up all your money on this thing that benefits all of humanity?
At least you benefited humanity.
I mean, you could say that about a lot of things.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, you could.
You could.
You really could, and it's true.
It's true. I feel like we shouldn't have a society that's built on martyrs dying in order to propel us slightly forward.
I agree, which is why we need universal basic income. Yeah. So this wouldn't be a problem. Like, that's really what, this boils down to, is they would die broke because they live in a capitalist society.
True.
But, that's the problem of the whole system, not, like, their fault.
Yeah, I mean, also, public funding and social services would really help. Yes, like, if you don't personally have to pay to research the human genome, if society is paying for you to do it, then I think it's also fair for society to then reap all the benefits.
Yeah, I guess that is what I mean. Like, in our current climate, it's not possible, but it should be.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm getting at. Like, there's no reason why it shouldn't be. It just is because of we have done this to ourselves.
Sure.
The statement is very strange to me. That somebody... Well, I guess I want to phrase this first, actually.
Sure.
What would you say is the greatest cartoon moment in the career of the original 4 members of Asia?
What? I mean, I know the bands.
Aside from this episode, what would you say is...
Were they in this episode?
No. What? So what would you say is the greatest cartoon moment in the career of the original 4 members of Asia? Because someone is saying that this episode now has become that.
What?
Because they sung Heat of the Moment.
Yeah.
So, what would you... Like, this isn't even a... They appeared in the episode. No. This is such a weird statement.
It's just being referenced.
It's such a dumb statement.
In that case, I would submit, in part 2 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, when Hirohiko Araki named the Red Stone of Asia after them.
No, he didn't.
He did.
No, he didn't.
It's a reference to the band Asia.
I thought it's a reference to what is it? I think it is Aja. It's a hold, now I gotta look this up.
Look it up, please. I'm curious. Because I might just be spreading false information.
I also might be spreading false information. I want to say it was like a Steely Dan song, but I don't know if I'm talking on my ass because I'm not sure if I've ever heard a Steely Dan song. Its name, Aja, is a reference to Steely Dan's most popular album of the same name, Aja. It could also be referencing the British progressive band Asia. But yeah, I do think it's more likely that it's Aja, especially considering immediately after part 2 we got Steely Dan.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So, not Asia's greatest moment.
In that case, I guess I will submit that this is in fact their greatest moment in cartoon history.
Has Asia not had another reference in JoJo? I feel like they did in part 4 for some reason, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Either way. Yeah, weird statement. Why did I put my phone down? Let's look up more notes.
Give me those notes.
So, on ESPN, Tim Cavanaugh discussed stem cells and how they were used in this episode, saying, "This, as with many other important topics of our day, I learned from South Park, specifically episode 513, entitled Kenny Dies." What an insane statement from somebody talking about stem cells on live TV. Or actually, no, okay, never mind. That was an article for the website, but still.
Okay.
Still. It's so wild. Like, I get it, but like,
yeah.
If you are a professional, I don't think you are allowed to admit I learned this from South Park. I think you gotta keep your mouth shut. Actually, how do you agree about this? That the political commentary on South Park, we'll stick with that, but also, like Simpsons and Freak Show, was genuinely more provocative satire, unlike the safer, mainstream iconoclasm of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Like, SNL sketches are usually a very, like, this is kind of what everyone's saying, so let's just, say it. So that everyone can laugh.
And even then, I think I had some respect. Like, I never watched SNL, but I had some respect for them at least, or at least some, like, whatever. Like, I had no real opinion of them. Up until they've been doing the thing where they've been bringing on, like, some extremely, like, Republican, like, Trump supporters to even out the cast and to feel more. It's like, what are you doing? And it's like, they'll bring them on to then make fun of them. And, like, I don't even remember what the one guy was. Like, the one guy specifically, they brought him on. All the sketches at the end are basically making fun of him. And then he makes a bunch of, like, racist remarks, and then they fire him. It's like, what did you expect? He's a Trump supporter. But yeah, so I don't really have any respect for them anymore.
Yeah, and like this episode definitely felt like I was flashing back to when I was a kid and like this was all the rage, and I can definitely imagine people being extremely mad about this episode, like just because they're talking about stem cells.
Yeah, sure, I could see that. But actually, I don't see anything about like they got any like negative response.
That's
more so than they more so than they always do.
Right.
I actually did not know that. In the audio commentary for this episode, they actually revealed that this episode's original intent was to have Kyle die for good and be taken out of the show.
Oh, wow.
Because he was too close to Stan.
Yeah, see, I would have flipped that around. I would kill Stan.
Same.
Like, last episode, when Stan was like, oh yeah, the thing that everyone makes fun of me about is that I have a crush on a girl. It's like, what? First of all, no one talks about that. Secondarily.
Yeah, it's like, Wendy has had one line in the past, like, 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And it has not been a flat point that has come up since, like, the movie.
Like, I guess they must just think of Stan as, like, he is the main character. But he does not feel like an important character a lot of the time.
Yeah, I definitely would. If I had to kill off one of the characters, like, permanently in the show, I would definitely have killed off Stan.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, Maybe later in the show, I feel like Stan has a lot more personality, and Kyle and Stan are a lot more
I sure hope so.
distinct. Yeah, but, and now I can actually see, like, this was where they were like, this is a problem, we need to fix it. They're way too similar. But, yeah, at this point, I would have killed off Stan. Because I think at this point, he is, just has a lot going for him at all. He was, I think, a lot more distinct from Kyle in, like, season 1. And then from season 2 till now, they've been blending way closer together.
Right.
Or just that Stan has been blending way farther into the background.
Yeah, I'd say it's more that Stan's been going to the background. Like, this season has made Kyle more distinct as a person to me.
Yeah.
Like, I get a lot more of who Kyle is, but I'm getting a lot less of who Stan is, apart from he has parents.
Yeah, it also would have, like, completely taken out the Cartman and Kyle dynamic. Like, Cartman doesn't have a dynamic like that with Stan or Kenny, so it would be real weird, because I think that's like, honestly, one of the best parts about the group of them. Like, Kyle and Cartman's dynamic is the best dynamic in the cast, I think. So, yeah, very strange to hear, but at the same time, I understand why they, you know, like, did that. It was probably something they, you know, thought of, and then, like, immediately, like, let's just have a beginning.
Right, it's...
Oh, actually, at the time this episode was airing, stem cell research was not illegal in the U.S.
Okay.
It wasn't until very quickly after this episode that it became illegal, actually.
They gave them the idea.
I sure hope not. Oh, also, apparently the friend is a reference to Frosty the Snowman from 1969.
Okay.
I've definitely never seen that Frosty, so...
I don't know if I have.
Oh, Kyle mentioned, you know, saying that, oh yeah, the four of us will go down to Stark's Pond and go camping again, which we actually did see them doing in Jackosaurus.
Were they?
Yeah, they were out there camping, and Cartman went to go poop behind the bushes.
Oh, right.
That's when they found him.
Huh, okay. Good catch.
That's a very subtle callback.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't mention the goofs a lot, like, you know, the times where they mess up certain things here or there, like animation-wise or whatever, but almost every single episode they mess up somebody's name, by the way. I feel like I gotta mention this at some point. Almost every episode, there's a name written down somewhere that is, I mean, either because they give the actual spelling way later and they go with that for the rest, but, like, there's a lot, like, Kitty McCormick, his thing on the door was K. McCormick, spelled wrong.
Oh, no.
And it's like, this happens so much. Half the time there is a name tag on a character, it's completely wrong from the canon name of that character.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man, it's been a mess, but I've been trying not to mention it, but good God. They got Kenny's name wrong. Okay, that is all I have for this episode. I really appreciate what they pushed the engine to the max in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
With, like, really wanting it to feel like a movie.
Yeah, like, so many shots that look really good for South Park, and even the ones that look a little weird, at the very least, look like they're ambitious for South Park.
Yeah. The one where they panned, like, from the lights down to the church, I'm sure they've probably done that shot once or twice before, but that feels like a shot that I've never seen in South Park except for there.
Yeah, like, I don't recall it at all.
Like, I don't even mean before, I mean, like, even, like, after. Like,
really?
It's such a specific shot, like, that angle. Like, I didn't even know what the hell was going on at first. I think they realize that looks kind of wonky, but I appreciate them really trying, you know, unique stuff like that.
Because it also does give it the Lifetime vibe.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of Hallmark movies do, like, especially nowadays, do the thing of, like, we've done this plot so many times that we have to allow the director to get creative with, like, the movements and, like, the landscape shots and stuff, because... Like, you gotta give them something.
And, like, you know, they've done plenty of, like, pans where, like, you know, the camera is moving around something, and so they have to make the 2D image look 3D as they're, like, swapping it out as it's going. But, like, this was a very different starting, like a, what is that, yaw? Or, I don't know, like, going from vertically down is such a different kind of perspective that they have ever done before. And, yeah. I'm sure we'll get something similar to that later, but not like that exact thing where it's just like straight up. That was weird. But again, I really appreciate them doing stuff like that. That's it for this one. See you guys for the next one, the final episode of this season, which is of course called, I want to make sure I get this right.
Okay.
Butter's very own episode.
Oh, Butters gets his own episode.
We'll see you guys for that. Until then, get the fuck out of here.